Oh, yeah, there we go. So I am now live on this channel. So, because it's almost the. Oh, you're riding your dirt bike. I thought you were riding like driving a car and you almost crashed. Like, that's scary. Anyways, kids, so what I would like you to do, hop on that YouTube, um, because I'm going to read chapter 18. Now, if you don't want to, or you can't, or whatever, you don't have to. I know this class period is really short. It ends at 12:50, 12:55, something like that. It's not really enough time to do a lesson, but I'm going to do my lesson on here, on YouTube. That way, it's recorded and you can see it whenever you need to. And that way, if you miss class or whatever, or you need a recap, you can do that. So, but I hope if you have the time, join me in the chat, join me in the YouTube, and it'll be fun. All right, like you can chat, ask me questions, all that fun stuff. Okay, but I'm looking to go live in like soon ish. So I apologize, kids. We're not really doing anything in this 30-minute class period. Uh, are there any questions about anything? No? All right. Well, what I would like you to do, click on that link, go to my YouTube live. Yeah, I am recording the lesson on YouTube. In fact, I didn't realize that I was broadcasting my voice. That's awkward. Hold on. All right. Welcome, everyone, to this impromptu YouTube session. This is me for the first time broadcasting from Valley High School. This is very interesting, and I am testing the school computer and internet. Let me just shoot out a announcement on Canvas so that students who are not in my class right now will know that my session is live. I'm not going to start for a little bit only because I want to give some time for people to get here. But hey, welcome to my stream. Hello. Oh, I'm gonna have to pop this chat out. It's hard to see. Give me a second. Hello, Paloma Rodriguez. Welcome to my class. Just give me a second. You know what? I think I'll play some nice chill music while y'all wait. All right. We'll disappear for a moment or not. Let's see if I can't get this chat box up here. Hold on.
I'm right.
All right, there we go. So let's begin. This is oh wait, there you go. Yeah, this is my classroom setup. Welcome, everyone. We are broadcasting from Valley High School now. This is a trip. I was kind of scared to download and install OBS onto the school computer. I was kind of scared if there was going to be firewall issues with the school network. But looks like we are all smooth sailing, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, we are going to be reading chapter 18 today of Things Fall Apart. I know it's kind of like odd. Ooh. You're finishing up finish up period 2. Yeah, no worries. You can't hear me. Amar, no. Hold on. Let me see if I can change that. You sure you can't hear me? Please let me know if my audio. I am experimenting with the school system. Glad you could join, Amar. This is great. Please let me know. Okay. So we're going to be reading chapter 18. Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. So we're going to be reading chapter 18 while we're waiting for some people to join in and all that. Awesome. Let's do a quick recap for those who are brand new or just need to know what's going on right now so they can understand what's up. We are studying the life of Okonkwo, a African tribesman of the Igbo people in the 1800s, right around the time where Africa really starts to get colonized by Europe. And we spent the 2/3 of the book just learning about Okonkwo and his family and his culture. And now we are at the point where something bad happened to Okonkwo. He got exiled from his home village, and he is living in another village for 7 years. And during that 7 years, there's a lot of changes. He starts seeing them in his village, the village that he's staying in of Mbanta. Like missionaries from Europe are starting to show up and starting to preach like Christianity and try to convert people and build churches. But he doesn't know what's changed in Umofia, his homeland, where he's been banished from for 7 years. So in chapter 17, Okonkwo encounters one of the missionaries, and the missionaries are requesting to build a church on Igbo land. So the Igbo people say like, hey, yeah, you can build your church because we don't think you're a threat. And so they build a church, and then all of a sudden, like, people start converting to Christianity because they come bringing technology. They start basically showing that some of the beliefs that the Igbo people, they don't hold water. They're not powerful. For example, they built their church in the evil forest, and everyone thought that they were going to die within like a month, and no one died. So the Igbo people are starting to convert, and one of those people who are converting is Nwoye, Okonkwo's son. So Okonkwo's son, he's not like Okonkwo. He's a little bit more sensitive, and he wants to join the Christians because they're more his style. He's not like a violent, manly type that Okonkwo wants him to be. But when Okonkwo finds out that he wants to join the Christians, he basically threatens to kill him. We had a really great discussion about like how it doesn't really happen like that today, where like, hey, you don't want to, you're going to convert religions, I'm going to kill you. But there are some things that, there's some disagreements that parents might have with their kids. Hey, how's it going, Karina? Welcome to the stream. I'm streaming for my class here for the first time. I didn't think I could do it, but I'm here and it's awesome. Welcome to class. We're going to read chapter 18. Basically, Nwoye ran away from home because Okonkwo threatened to kill him for switching religions. And you could find common ground in, like, maybe you had friends who have experienced their parents not agreeing with, like, their lifestyle choices. Like maybe like their parents got really mad at them when you're one of your friends, or even you might have said like, yeah, I don't feel like going to college. I don't think that's right for me. Maybe your parents got mad, or maybe your parents got mad like at one of your friends when maybe they came out, or your friends are struggling to come out or like be themselves around their parents because they're afraid how their parents might react. That is what happened to Nwoye, and he had no choice but to run away or get killed. No worries, Karina. I'm glad that you're here now because we're going to read chapter 18. So don't worry about it. You're on track. All right. Unless you're period 3. No, this is period 2. Unless you're period 3, because period 3 didn't read chapter 17. We read chapter 17 together in class. If you missed it, then you can just watch the recording on my YouTube. But without further ado, let's read chapter 18. If you have any questions or any reactions, feel free to share them in chat. All right, I want to discuss this with you, and it looks like this is a really long chapter compared to what we're used to. So this might take a bit. Yeah, it's a couple pages. It's a couple pages. That's all right. We're here for it. Hey, Mahad, welcome. Glad you could be here. Hey, if you have any questions, please ask them. All right, here we go. Chapter 18. The young church in Mbanta had a few crises early in its life. At first, the clan had assumed that it would not survive, but it gone on living and gradually becoming stronger. The clan was worried, but not overmuch. If a gang of Efulefu decided to live in the evil forest, it was their own affair. When one came to think of it, the evil forest was a fit home for such undesirable people. Remember, the term afulefu is people who are, they're outcasts. No one really cares about them. Maybe it's like people who are diseased or people who are criminals. Think about like who would we consider efulefu in our society today? I wonder, who would we consider efulefu? I want to say like, sorry, I was getting thirsty. I don't know. I think we might consider like the homeless or like those with mental illnesses. Maybe the disabled might be considered efulefu in our society. So in the Igbo people, they have efulefu, and they're like, you guys want to live in the evil forest? Go ahead. We don't care. It was true. Oh, when one came to think of it, the evil forest was a fit home for such undesirable people. It was true. They were rescuing twins from the bush, but they never brought them into the village. Okay, remember, in this culture, twins are considered a curse, so they throw them away in the evil forest. Well, guess who's in the evil forest now, and who doesn't believe in killing children? It's the Christians. So the Christians are rescuing twins, but they don't bring them into the village, so it's fine. You know, you're not bringing the curse into our village. Fine, go ahead, rescue the children, whatever. As far as the villagers were concerned, the twins still remained where they had been thrown away. Surely the earth goddess would not visit the sins of the missionaries on the innocent villagers. But on one occasion, the missionaries had tried to overstep the bounds. 3 converts. Oh, people with COVID. I wouldn't say that they are like socially efulefu, but we do kind of like shun them. I would say people who have more long-lasting things like, you know, like lepers, or maybe the disfigured, or maybe people who are not just attractive are considered, you know, like outcasts in our society. It's not a truth that I necessarily subscribe to or believe in, but it might be a truth nonetheless, and we have to acknowledge that if we are going to critique our own culture. Okay. On one occasion, the missionaries had tried to overstep the bounds. 3 converts had gone into the village and boasted openly that all the gods were dead and impotent, and that they were prepared to defy them by burning all their shrines. So we have a couple of very brave and very zealous believers in Christianity who now want to prove to the rest of the Igbo people that it's basically saying like, we're right, you're wrong, and they're taking it to the next extreme. Go and burn your mother's genitals, said one of the priests. The men were seized and beaten until they streamed with blood. After that, nothing happened for a long time between the church and the clan. But stories were already gaining ground so that the white man had not only brought a religion, but also a government. This is important, kids. This is important. Remember, we already know that the people of Umofia, or the people of the Igbo people, have a system of government. You know, remember that one chapter where we witnessed what seemed like a trial by the Gugu. You know, there was a trial. Remember that man who was beating his wife so savagely that her brothers stole her away? Yeah, they have their own system of government. They have men with title. They have their own meetings and elders and stuff. It was said that they had built a placement of judgment in Umof to protect the followers of their religion. It was even said that they had hanged one man who killed a missionary. Although such stories were now often told, they look like fairy tales in Mbanta, and did not as yet affect the relationship between the new church and the clan. There was no question of killing a missionary here, for Mr. Kiyaga, despite his madness, was quite harmless. As for his converts, no one could kill them without having to flee from the clan, for in spite of their worthlessness, they still belonged to the clan, and so nobody gave serious thought to the stories about the white man's government or the consequences of killing the Christians. If they became more troublesome than they already were, they would simply be driven out of the clan. The little church was at that moment too deeply absorbed in its own troubles to annoy the clan. It all began over the question of admitting outcasts. So let me scroll up real quick. Okay, these outcasts, or Osu, seeing that the new religion welcomed twins and such abominations, thought that it was possible that they would also be received. And so, one Sunday, 2 of them went into the church. There was an immediate stir, but so great was the work of the new religion had done among the converts that they did not immediately leave the church when the outcasts came in. Those who found themselves nearest to them merely moved to another seat. It was a miracle, but it only lasted till the end of the service. The whole church raised a protest and was about to drive these people out when Mr. Kiyaga stopped them and began to explain. Before God, he said, there is no slave or free. We are all children of God, and we must receive these, our brothers. You do not understand, said one of the converts. What will the heathens say of us when they hear that we receive Osu into our midst? They will laugh. Okay, here's a bit of a conflict here. In their society, they have a caste of outcasts, and to be seen with them is not good. But the new religion, this new culture is teaching that everyone is equal. Interesting thought. If I were an outcast, I would want to go and be with people who accept me for who I am. So, of course, I'm going to try and become Christian. Let them laugh, said Mr. Kiyaga. God will laugh at them on Judgment Day. Why do the nations rage and the peoples imagine a vain thing? He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. You do not understand, the convert maintained. You are our teacher, and you can teach us the things of the new faith. But this is a matter which we know. And he told him what an Osu was. So think about it. It's like in their culture, the Osu is a different person. So it's like, you can teach us about religion. That's what you're all about. But in our culture, Osu is completely different. He was a person dedicated to a god, a thing set apart, a taboo forever, and his children after him. He could neither marry nor be married by the freeborn. He was in fact an outcast, living in a special area of the village, close to the great shrine. Wherever he went, he carried with him the mark of his forbidden caste, long, tangled, and dirty hair. A razor was taboo to him. An Osu could not attend an assembly of the freeborn, and they, in turn, could not shelter under his roof. So it looks like there's 2 types of people in the Igbo society. There's the freeborn, and then there's these Osu, who are solely dedicated to a god. He could not take any of the 4 titles of the clan, and when he died, he was buried by his kind in the evil forest. How could such a man be a follower of Christ? So it looks like the Igbo people are having a cultural conflict. On one side, their traditional culture of Igbo culture tells them that these people, these Osu, you can't mix with them. But on the other side, their newfound religion, it teaches them that you need to accept everyone. I remember we had a really good discussion about conflicting ideas in culture. For example, just to refresh your memory, I'm Filipino and American. My Filipino side tells me I need to take care of my elders. I need to respect my elders. And, to Filipinos, putting your parents, your elderly parents in a retirement home, that's probably one of the worst things you could do to them. Separating them from the family. But my American side is telling me you should be free to do whatever you want. Your parents can take care of themselves. There's health care and elderly home institutions. You need to live your own life and be independent and serve our country, you know. So I have two conflicting parts of my culture. I have one side, the Filipino side, that says take care of your parents no matter what, and the other side which says take care of yourself regardless of what your parents say. You know, it's two separate cultures. And I hope that while I'm explaining this, you're thinking, do you have any kinds of that culture as well? Because it looks like that's what this conflict is. You know, these Igbo converts are struggling to reconcile their new religion with their old traditions. He needs Christ more than you and I, said Mr. Kiaga. Then I shall go back to the clan, said the convert, and he went. Mr. Kiaga stood firm, and it was his firmness that saved the young church. The wavering converts drew inspiration and confidence from his unshakable faith. He ordered the outcasts to shave off their long, tangled hair. At first, they were afraid they might die. Unless you shave off the mark of your heathen belief, I will not admit you into the church, said Mr. Kiaga. You fear that you will die. Why should that be? How are you different from other men who shave their hair? The same God created you and them, but they have cast you out like lepers. It is against the will of God, who has promised everlasting life to all who believe in his holy name. The heathen say you will die if you do this or that, and you are afraid. They also said I would die if I built my church on this ground. Am I dead? They said I would die if I took care of twins. I am still alive. The heathen speak nothing but falsehood. Only the word of our God is true. Ooh. He's got a good... He uses a really good argument. He shows the people that, look, your beliefs said this and it didn't happen. So maybe my belief is stronger. That's what happened in the last chapter. He's a powerful preacher. Fun fact, a little thing about me. So I do celebrate Catholicism. I'm Catholic. Not trying to push you or influence you or anything. You know, you're free to believe and choose to believe what you want. But I do know that the church that I go to, like the priest is from Nigeria. So whenever I hear like the Mr. Kiaga talking, I imagine him in my head and his accent, and it gets really weird. It gets really weird. All right. So we're talking about outcasts here, the Osu. The two outcasts shaved off their hair, and soon they were the strongest adherents of the new faith. And what was more, nearly all the Osu in Mbanta followed their example. It was, in fact, one of them who, in his zeal, brought the church into serious conflict with the clan a year later by killing the sacred python, the emanation of the god of water. The royal python was the most revered animal in Mbanta and all the surrounding clans. It was addressed as our father, and it was allowed to go wherever it chose, even into people's beds. It ate rats in the house and sometimes swallowed hens' eggs. If a clansman killed a royal python accidentally, he made sacrifices of atonement and performed an expensive burial ceremony such as was done for a great man. No punishment was prescribed for a man who killed the python knowingly. Nobody thought that such a thing could ever happen. So they revere the python, which is, it's a great snake. They revere it. And it sounds like one of these Osu who converted to Christianity in his zeal means in their enthusiasm. Like people who are zealous, they're really crazy about something. Like Golden Knights fans, they're crazy about the Golden Knights. I don't know. I would consider myself zealous when it comes to video games. Like I'm a big fan. Okay, so this guy, like it's a big fan to a fault, like to the point where you're considered a little bit crazy. So this guy is a little bit crazy about Christianity, and in order to prove that Christianity is better, He kills the python, which he grew up believing is sacred. But now, because of Christianity, he knows, like, oh, that's just a snake. I'm going to kill it and show everyone else that this is just a snake. Perhaps it never did happen. That was the way the clan at first looked at it. No one had actually seen the man do it. The story had arisen among the Christians themselves. But all the same, the rulers and elders of Mbanta assembled to decide on their action. Many of them spoke at great length and in fury. The spirit of wars was upon them. Okonkwo, who had begun to play a part in the affairs of his motherland, said that until the abominable gang was chased out of the village with whips, there would be no peace. So Okonkwo, he's kind of like taking charge here in this village that he's been exiled to, because he's a leader type. Why not? And he's arguing like, we just got to get rid of these people. We just got to get rid of them. But there were many others who saw the situation differently, and it was their counsel that prevailed in the end. It is not our custom to fight for our gods, said one of them. Let us not presume to do so now. If a man kills the sacred python in the secrecy of his hut, the matter lies between him and the god. We did not see it. If we put ourselves between the god and his victim, we may receive blows instead for the offender. When a man blasphemes, what do? We go and stop his mouth. Do we go and stop his mouth? No. We put our fingers into our ears and stop us hearing. That is a wise action. Oh, I like that. It's they're choosing not to do anything because they don't want to interfere. I like how he says this. Like, if we put ourselves between the God and his victim, we may receive blows intended for the offender. I remember once upon a time, a long time ago at Valley High School, there used to be fights at Valley, and most of the teachers would stay to the side, monitor their situation. If it got out of hand, they would call for help. But for the most part, they don't put themselves in between the two people fighting. I'm that idiot teacher that put themselves in between the people fighting, and I received the blows instead intended for the offender. Like, they didn't mean to hit me, but I got hit a couple times. And I can see where they're coming from. Instead of getting involved, they're choosing to, let the involved parties take care of their own business. We're going to let them do their own thing. Okonkwo disagrees. Let us not reason like cowards, said Okonkwo. If a man comes into my hut and defecates on the floor, what do? Do I shut my eyes? No. I take a stick and break his head. That is what a man does. For those of you who don't know, defecate is the academic way of saying poop. If a man comes into my hut and poops on my floor, what do? I mean, what would you do if I came into your home, dropped my pants, and took a nice big fat one on your rug? What would you do? These people are daily pouring filth over us, and Okeke says we should pretend not to see. Okonkwo made a sound full of disgust. This was a womanly clan, he thought. Such a thing could never happen in his fatherland, Umofia. Okonkwo has spoken the truth, said another man. We should do something, but let us ostracize these men. You would then not be held accountable for their abominations. Everybody in the assembly spoke, and in the end, it was decided to ostracize these Christians. So ostracize means you are exiled. You're no longer one of us. Okonkwo ground his teeth in disgust. That night, a bellman went through the length and breadth of Mbanta, proclaiming that the adherents of the new faith were thenceforth excluded from the life and privileges of the clan. The Christians had grown in number and were now a small community of men, women, and children, self-assured and confident. Mr. Brown, the white missionary, paid regular visits to them. When I think that it is only 18 months since the seed was first sown among you, he said, I marvel at what the Lord hath wrought. It was Wednesday in Holy Week, and Mr. Kiaga had asked the women to bring red earth and white chalk and water to scrub the church for Easter. And the women had formed themselves into 3 groups for this purpose. They set out early that morning, some of them with their water pots to the stream, another group with hoes and baskets to the village earth pit, and the others to the chalk quarry. What do you think is going to happen here? Remember, they are now ostracized from the clan. They are not allowed the privileges of the clan. Mr. Kiyaga was praying in the church when he heard the women talking excitedly. He rounded off his prayer and went to see what it was all about. The women had come to the church with empty water pots. They said that some young men had chased them away from the stream with whips. Soon after, the women who had gone to the red earth returned with empty baskets. Some of them had been heavily whipped. The chalk women also returned to tell a similar story. "What does it all mean?" asked Mr. Kiyaga, who was greatly perplexed. "The village has outlawed us," said one of the women. "The bellman announced it last night. But it is not our custom to debar anyone from the stream or the quarry." Another woman said, "They want to ruin us. They will not allow us into the markets. They have said so." Mr. Kiyaga was going to send into the village for his men converts when he saw them coming on their own. Of course, they had all heard the bellman, but they had never in all their lives heard of women being debarred from the stream. "Come along," they said to the women. "We will go with you to meet those cowards." Some of them had big sticks, and some even machetes. But Mr. Kiyaga restrained them. He wanted first to know why they had been outlawed. "They say that Okoli killed the sacred python," said one man. "It is false," said another. "Okoli told me himself that it was false." Okoli was not there to answer. He had fallen ill on the previous night. Before the day was over, he was dead. His death showed that the gods were still able to fight their own battles. The clan saw no reason then for molesting the Christians. Whoa, okay, so the guy who supposedly killed the snake, and the clan was like, let's let the god fight its own battle. What do you think happened to this guy? Like, he died. He fell ill, and he died. What do you think happened to him? Come on, he's fighting a python, right? I'm willing to bet that the python got a bite in before he got killed. So Coley died. So it kind of makes it helps the people of the Igbo tribe who still believe in their gods. It kind of validates them. They said, our God will take care of it. We don't have to interfere. We don't have to molest these people. So they don't. Right? They don't interfere. And what happens? He dies. The God takes it. The people of Mbanta, they're happy. They're like, our God fought for itself, just like we said. We believe in this God. So we don't have to bother you anymore. We proved our point. So I guess that's pretty cool. You see that there's a conflict now, right? Now it's like distinctly African people who still believe in like the old African stuff. And then there's the African people who believe in Christianity. Yeah. I think the python bit him. Yeah. That's but realize now that the next thing to fall apart in this chapter is their social system. The Igbo people have their own like society. They have like, these are the people who are cool, these are the people who are not cool. And now Christianity comes in and is like, we're all cool, except people who don't believe in Christianity. You're not cool. And these kinds of ideas are starting to mesh, and they're starting to affect the way of life. Now you have African people who can't, go to their own water. You have African people who can't go and get resources where before they were able to. The system of society is slowly starting to break down. Why? Because a new culture came in, and everyone's dealing with it in some really weird ways. Remember, we are looking for things how things fall apart and how people react. We saw some reactions from the characters here. Okonkwo, he just wants everyone out. Can we think of people who just want people who are different to leave? Like, think about our own current society. I'm not going to name anyone. I'm also not going to stop you from naming anyone. But I want you to think. Are there people in our society who just want people who are different to leave? Or not come to our country to begin with? Because that's Okonkwo. That's what he's thinking. These people are different. We don't want them here. And then there's people who are like, all right, they can be here, but we're not going to pay any attention to them. We're not going to help them. We're not going to let them like have access to anything. Are there people like that in our society? And then are there people who want to help? There's so many ways that characters can react to a cultural conflict. And I wonder, where do you fall? What would you do if you were to encounter a different culture? How would you react? Anyways, that's it for today. That's chapter 18. I hope you enjoyed this reading. And this is pretty cool. I got a couple of people to sit in. Much appreciated. Mahad and Miss Hanson Robles, Karina, Amar, thank you for being here and saying something in the chat. So I know we'll be doing this again. I want to say on Wednesday for chapter 19, so we can be ready for Thursday and Friday. If you have any questions or you want to discuss any of these things, please shoot me an email. Let me know in Canvas. But other than that, your assignments are in Canvas, your What's Up Wednesday, and the questions for this chapter. Just get that done, and I'll see you with chapter 19. Everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being here, and take care.